What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Catrapalia sitting on the couch, trying to make some money investing in fractional real estate online as usual. Today, I'm going to talk to you about one spot where Lofty might be hiding some good deals from you. It's something that I've noticed a few times. I might have even mentioned it before, but I want to make it clear and also give you a couple of ways how to find those deals. So, before I forget, though, please go ahead and like and subscribe. I'm not really sure why I'm supposed to ask you to do that, but I see other YouTubers do it, and I want to fit in with the cool kids. Anyway, one of the things that happens on this marketplace tab, and if you haven't figured out how to find this, you know when you go to Lofty initially and you look at the marketplace, you might find this tab. I prefer to search. You got to just push this little button over here, and then you get it listed here. And one of the things that I do, because I'm always looking for the tokens that are discounted relative to real world prices, one of the ways to find those pretty easily is to find prices where the tokens are exceptionally cheap. And just because the token's cheap, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good deal, but it's a good place to start, right? And so that's what I've been doing quite a bit. But lately, I've bought a couple of tokens in this property over the last. This one's probably been a month or two, but I just bought some for the first time for this one today. I had never even heard of this property before. It's because it's been for sale, and once it's for sale, Lofty pulls the listings off of here. So they basically are hiding them from this page. I think their thought process is they don't want someone new to come to the site, try to invest in a property, and then find out, well, that property is for sale, and their investment ended in a short period of time. And I understand that, but I also think that some of the properties that are listed for sale are some that have just the biggest difference between the token price and the price of the real world asset. And that's part of the reason that people decided to go ahead and sell them. So I've been actively trying to find those. And then when I find them, just like always, you got to do your own due diligence. Make sure you think that this property is really going to sell for a price that ends up being more than the total of all the tokens sold, right? At least at your cost basis. And so if you can do that and overcome fees, there's the potential to find some good deals. But how do you find these, right? They're not on the marketplace. Lofty doesn't have some list of them somewhere where you can find them. There's one of the ways is by looking in this sell order live feed on their Discord, and I think this is um, this Dresden property actually did come up on there, but I actually searched for it because the only tokens that came up were pretty expensive ones. So I never actually, when I saw those in the feed, I never actually clicked on this property. It didn't even seem noteworthy to me because whoever listed them for $50. But if you look, I actually bought some today around $19, in the marketplace, like through the market order function. And so I only knew to look for this because of a discussion that was happening in the Discord in general. But I think some of them I find because people list tokens for pretty cheap, and I look at them, and then it gets me to look at those properties. And so I think that's how I found the Penhurst one, which was just not listed, but it was there. It also could have been from a discussion. Keeler, is Keeler not on there? I bet it's not, or it shouldn't be. So let's see. Because yeah, this is one that we had for sale in real life, and that's so I've got it on there. So that's one spot, right? I think we can find it there, and that's probably the only way I'm going to find it, right? Looking at these limit orders and looking at the actual discussions in the Discord and people talking about ones that are for sale. Just sort of paying attention, tracking ones. I think over time, the more time you spend in here, I just have started picking up a lot of these cheaper ones. And so, if you own a token or two of them, then you'll always see them in your account tab, right? And so now I always see, let's see, Penhurst shows up. I've got Keeler in here. I've got Dresden. The ones that are already for sale. If you own those tokens, you can track them pretty simply, which is nice. But then I was talking to someone in the Discord, asking some questions. Like really, I had put a request onto the feature request saying, "Hey, Lofty, if you're going to pull them off the marketplace tab, could you just give us another place where we can find them?" And another helpful person just pointed out that we can actually go on the API And I don't think this is actually the right API. I think he mentioned that I needed to look at like version 2 or something. Does that bring something up? No, that's not the right one. But if you're, if you're somebody who is way more savvy than I am, apparently the properties show up on here, even though they don't show up on the marketplace tab. And so, his suggestion was, well, if you just go into here and you delete everything that isn't one that you already see, that'd be one way to do it if I wanted to spend a lot of time on it. And he also mentioned some other way, using this website here, Postman. Honestly, it was a little over my head. Um, but if you're somebody who is pretty tech savvy, I bet you could figure out how to do that pretty easily. Um, and it just depends on how hard you want to work to try to find some of these deals that might be, a little bit better deal than the ones that are, that haven't been listed on that spot yet, right? Like, because once they're for sale and they get pulled off of here, I think especially like this Penhurst one, some of these tokens, if you look, and they stop even showing you, the price movement over time. But I've gotten, well, let's see, I think the order book would still show you, yeah, some of the tokens is far down to 16, but I think there's been some even cheaper 17. I think I said 16, but I think I've seen some even cheaper than that. Um, because one of the things that happens is, people, this hasn't been giving any, it hasn't had any yield for a while, to the point where enough owners decided, okay, let's sell it. And now this one's been on the market for quite a while. Let's see how long this one's been on the market. I know we've dropped the price a couple times recently, and I've actually been the one proposing that vote each time, because I think, uh, I think that well, one, yeah, it's been on the market for over 2 months, where we've been dropping this price. At this price and at the current $20 price point, it seems like we should do really well, right? I mean, let's say we'll round that to $20 and we'll look at how many. Um, why am I getting stuck here? So let's see. $20 times 1486. Yeah, we're talking about $30,000, right? And I think, this one, it might have some unpaid bills, although I think there wasn't very many. I don't remember, but again, if you're going to look at any of these, you really want to do your own due diligence and do your own math. But it looks like we should be perfectly fine. But if you're somebody that's been holding this and thinking you're going to get a payment, and maybe you bought it 3 years ago and you haven't gotten a dime in months, you might be somebody who went and is willing to sell it for some cheap price, right? So that I think it's not completely irrational that people are selling out, and that there's these opportunities to get in. And so, especially once it's been on the market for a while, I've seen on some of them that that's when people really start to sell them, and which was what drives down the price. Um, the one that I think that was the most, well, in that we're closer to a sale on, and I've talked about this one a few times, right, is this Keeler property. Once it came of the marketplace is when I think I bought some of the cheapest ones that I have in here. It's currently selling, or they're currently asking for 30, but that's because it's under contract at a price where we're going to net, a couple bucks higher than that, it looks like. Um, but since this was listed for sale after it got taken off the marketplace, I bought some of these tokens for, $22 or something, after the agents had told us, hey, we think we're going to sell it for X. So, I think that's an opportunity. It's one that I have been more or less stumbling upon these. But I think that if you have, if you do a more concerted effort, like where you're really paying attention to everything that comes through this live feed, you could do it that way. Like I said, if you're a little bit more tech savvy than I am, you can look at the API, because I guess every property um, shows up in the API, even though it's not actually showing on this screen. And so I don't really understand that, but I'm sure you probably do. And that's really it. That's all I wanted to talk about today. Really just how to find those deals that are getting pulled off of here. And like I said, I mean, I know I started off saying, oh, Lofty's hiding these deals from you, and they are technically hiding them. But I don't think, again, I don't think they're doing anything nefarious, right? I don't think they're trying to um, keep you from getting a deal. I think they're trying to keep someone from buying one that is that is for sale and they don't realize it. I think I'd actually rather see them leave them on here and then just clearly mark them like, hey, this property is for sale in the real world. And so if you buy this, it's a short term buy. Because I'd like to be able to just sort for that and pick up more tokens. But I guess if it were easy to do, then more people might do it. And then, maybe I'll make less money that way, right? Because I really do think that this, flipping these tokens, basically buying the tokens and selling the property, uh, as I've mentioned several times, I think it is the most obvious opportunity on this platform. And so I'm going to keep doing it, and but I think that it occurred to me when I was looking at this one today that hey, I never saw this on this page. And so it made me realize, oh, there's more of those, and I'm going to try to dig for it. And if I'm going to do that, I should mention it in case other people are. One thing, if you are doing this, I'm super curious how you're finding them. If you've got other ones that are for sale that you don't mind sharing with me because maybe you've bought all the tokens that you want to, or you'd like to, or maybe you want to sell them and you'd be glad to have someone else looking at those ones and buying some. Definitely let me know. Other than that, until next time, I'm going to just keep making mistakes so that you don't have to.